What we'll do is we'll have Breach ready with the stun, waiting for contact. Omen's gonna smoke window, and then Sova's gonna walk down and try to get a kill in grass. And if Sova makes contact, what happens? Here. They walk down, and then they get spotted, right? They get spotted, but they don't get a kill. So they immediately pivot and go C because maybe Breach hears them, or like they know like Cypher isn't seeing anything, so it's probably C, and they immediately rotate and flood the site. Okay, guys, Haven. What do we know about it? As just more
It's
broadly.
got 3 sites.
Got three
That's
sites
true.
and there's
That's
a lot
true.
of entry points.
It's a terrible map.
It
No, it's actually a great map. I like Haven. It's
I hate
a
Haven.
Great implementation of the three bomb sites, and they fixed it a lot since its release. It used to have a lot of 50-50 angles like this. You can see it's kind of blocky, so it used to be harder to play the map, but it's a little easier now that they've changed some things around. So yeah, so yeah, there's 5 lanes, right? So we got C, garage, B, A short, and A long. You could also say maybe these are the lanes, but they have very long sight lines, so ops are good, right? You can get good op peaks, like top B, or on A. This angle is really good. This angle's good. There's just tons of good op angles. So that's why the op is very good. And if the op is good on this map, what agents are good on this map?
Jet.
Jet Chamber.
Jet
Yori,
ISO?
Reyna.
ISO maybe.
He's not a horrible pick, but there's other agents that are better in the comp.
I'm used to
So
playing
like
Harbor though.
against the op crutch.
Yeah, and then so Jet's definitely the duelist, and then for our initiator, I'm just gonna call the comps this week for you guys, because this is just the best map to play with, the best comp to play with, and I know both teams have people who can play these agents very well. I've played them a lot, so going with our theme from last week, which is hey, we're a new team, so we're focused on communication and other team fundamentals like peeking together, holding crossfires, and all that. We're gonna go with this comp so that we can focus on our fundamentals and not focus on the nuances of a different comp. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so why is Cypher so good?
He has 2 trips. I can just take control of the 2 sidelines, so we don't need to hold them.
Yeah, so typically maps with 3 sites are attack sided just by default because the defenders have to worry about more sites, right? There's more places the defenders can rotate. There's more. There's a lot of lanes they can go and attack. They can maybe tap the spike on B, but then end up going C, and it can just you do a lot of fakes. So for defenders, it's usually hard, right? So Cypher is really crucial on this map because what he can do is he can put down trips like let's do this for example, where we have a trip garage and a trip B, and he plays with his cam for info, and he plays like a survival cage right here. Cypher has so much coverage on the map. He has like global utility. So that means that these 4 agents, they don't have to play with these trips, right? Like you can leave this trip and you'll know if the trip isn't broken, the enemies aren't there, right? So that's very, very powerful because then you can do more stacks, right? Where you can stack 3 people on A and contest A, and you can have Omen float wherever, right? Maybe you could stack with Cypher, maybe you could hold one of the trips, maybe you could TP up on B. There's a lot you can do. So generally, this is kind of what the setup looks like, right? You have kind of a breach. He stuns A. We're trying to contest A because the great thing about A is like I said, guys, there's 2 lanes here that you have to worry about, right? Like here. What happens if we get, say, our Jet, for example, up on this angle, what happens?
We can just leave A.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
because we only have to
yeah.
watch 2 lanes turns into 1 lane, right? So now we're just worried about this right here instead of these lanes. And what beginner teams struggle with, or teams who haven't really thought of like the strategy much, is they're like, well, we have 5 players and we have 5 lanes, so why don't we go like this, right? What's the problem with a setup like this? I call this a skeleton default.
If they actually hit a site, you just die.
Yeah, it's
There's
like a
no-
1 versus 5, right? If they decide to rush something. Breach is 1 versus 5, Oma's 1 versus 5, Cypher's 1 versus 5, and Jet has to fight this lane by himself, Sova has to fight this lane. So it's just a 1v5. And what do we know about man advantage? Like, that's the most important part of the game. You want to have more people fighting, like, less enemies, basically. You want to have 3 people fighting against 1 person, or you want to have 3 people fighting against 5 people instead of 5 enemies versus your 1 agent, right? So that's why A control is so crucial, because really it's the only part of the map where you can turn 2 lanes, 2 threats into only 1 threat, right? So we're going to watch a pro round to see what it looks like. But basically what's going to happen is when the round starts, Breach is going to stun here, so they're very slow. The attackers are very slow coming in. And then Sova is going to dart. You know, there's a bunch of different darts you can throw, but just something like up here. And then basically we're just trying to get a kill, and if there's nobody there, we send our Jet up and we have them post here. Okay, so let's take a look. I think this one was the round I wanted to look at.
So I think, crew, maybe a
Can you guys see this and hear it?
Yeah.
time out, and you need to play a little bit more spread on the default, even when you're
This is from the other day.
showing heavy presence on one side. You need to punish the other way.
Yeah, I hadn't
sure
even
I
thought
watched
about the
this.
fact that they hadn't invested a timeout yet.
I mean, they've invested in
Okay, so we can pause. A lot happened right here, but if you kind of see on the radar here, this is where we started, right? We have Breach ready to stun. You could have Breach in A link, or you can have him short. Doesn't really matter. Just, you know, you want to have Breach kind of like, if you think they're going to go B, you kind of have him B link. If you think we need help on A, then he can be A, and he can stun like the same thing. But just notice how when we don't see anything, right? Jet goes up on this angle, and then Sova rotates off, and Breach rotates off, and we're able to flood the site and defend it.
need to punish the other way.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about the fact that they hadn't invested a timeout yet.
I mean, they've invested into Shy for good reason, but he does get traded out this time.
2E's taking a step back. Spike not committed. A turn of the flash and a swing onto Adverso.
They could just do no wrong right now.
With 7 bullets left, 2E's continues to push the matter. Looking for 4, will find it.
Spike down, C.
This would be a Kesnet round.
Okay, so what else do we notice from this round? Hint, Cypher. How is he playing? What was his play style?
Or
Looks like
live
he-
with his cage.
Yeah, he was trying to get 1 kill, and then he popped a cage, and he survived, right? He got 1 and survived, and that's because he was solo, right? And just one important thing, especially for Sentinel players, is whenever you're solo, your goal is not to take on the whole army at once, right? You want to be able to isolate 1 versus 1s, so you only take 1 fight at a time, and then when you get that kill, you either get behind cover or you like pop a cage so that you can hide, and what that does is it gives time for this Breach to rotate, and he can assist if he gets pressured, right? If you just get a kill and get traded, then the enemies have the entire site for free, and then you're screwed, right? So, so just, you know, keep in mind, if you're solo, you're trying to get a kill and survive, right? What was also good here, let's look at the radar, let's look at Jet.
Thought about the fact that they 2E's taking a step back.
So something tempting, and something I saw a lot of you guys do, is if you saw nothing immediately, this Jet would just keep running, just immediately, and just run, right? And just flank instantly. problem is sometimes there's somebody watching you, right? Or maybe they're not committing and they're just waiting for you to make a mistake. So like it's okay to just hold an angle, right? Like this Jett does not have to push. He can just watch. He's going to end up pushing eventually because he realizes the spike is there. But just notice, like, he's not going to flank until he knows the enemy team is committed to that site.
Spike not committed. A turn of the flash and a swing onto Adverso.
They could just do no wrong right now.
With 7 bullets left, Tui's continues to push the matter.
Yeah. So yeah, let's look at one other example of how to play defense here.
Part of this conversation has been Vinny up against
How to do
Adverso.
that
Right,
setup.
these two tier 2 IGL.
And just like for the IGLs out there, what I recommend you guys do for Haven, keep it very simple. Okay, like have like this sort of setup, and you could do little changes, right? Maybe you could throw Omen on B one round, or have like breach short, or maybe you have the Jett op on C and then you put Omen over here, or you switch up the Cypher trips because they keep getting shot. Like, you can change little stuff, but for the most part, like, this is how you want to do it. And if you watch the pros, they basically do this setup most rounds, and then they do this mid aggro like the other rounds. And I'm just telling you guys, like I was really reiterating it to my team, but if you try to cook too much with a new team and players who don't have the best chemistry with each other yet, like, it's just going to end up hurting you. Just keep it simple, because the enemy team just doesn't have a lot of time to figure out your setup, right? So you don't need to change it that often, right? It's different if, like, they do figure you out and you notice that, and then you have to make some changes. But, like, there's no issue in, like, the scrim on Wednesday to just run the default setup for, like, 6 rounds in a row. Just test it, right? There's no issue with that. Okay, let's watch this.
Who are joining VCT, how are they going to adapt? How are they going to respond to some of the pressure in the big stage? And Vinny has looked great. Yeah. I think the calling from Adverso, yes, in large part because Loud has been so suffocating, has been lackluster.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? Because sometimes it's not even the call. It's just phenomenal plays from the opposition.
Yeah, but that's the job of an IGL, man. You got to find a way.
Gotta try anything, right? I mean, so far, the success has been Shy being in the forefront, but he does get spotted here now.
No.
Man, he needs to be careful.
There's no real way out.
What a flush out!
They knew. As soon as DG spotted him, they pinged him out on the map. He had nowhere to go.
That was
Okay, what do we notice so far with how the defense is played, maybe the attack?
It's not what I normally see from like low elo lobbies. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this was really cool. They like, this corner is played a lot, and the breach cleared them out so the Jett could get the kill. Like, that was pretty crazy, right? But notice how the attack, they usually, like, they have one person holding C, and then, like, you just have a group going back and forth. Like, if A is kind of rough, then we go hit the other side, and whenever we default and rotate, it's good to be kind of grouped up like this. Make sure you have your flanks covered, but, like, notice how they move together and they explode together, which is cool. They end up losing the round, but because the defense is played well. But yeah, this is a cool.
disgusting.
No
play.
2's position here. In Cubby, down C long.
Yeah, he's deep. This 1v1 between him and Melzer is gonna make or break the round for Crew.
As soon as he hears some of it too, he knows that's where the fight is, and that's likely the round for Crew. I think you're right.
That's so hard now. There's so many places to retake from a 3-pronged approach.
Oh, the only thing is they're maybe a little bit slow on the reinforcements, but Pancata getting that kill onto Adverso too really just kind of secures.
Okay, so we saw the Cypher play C a little aggressively. So there's a couple things you can do. One, like, the Cypher went up here, which is very risky. But if you don't want to be that risky, you can actually throw a cam down here on this angle and then go back. And, like, if you're watching this angle here, you don't even have to play on C. Like, you can double up garage or something And then once this camp gets broken, then he can rotate back, right? So it's kind of the same thing as like Jet getting up here and holding this angle. We can have our Cypher cam here. So Sentinels, I know Wyatt, you're a Sentinel, Raul. You know, if you guys are on Cypher on this map, this is a really good cam you can do. So, okay. Let's keep going. All right, let's look at the aggro mid. So
I mean, the only
basically this is pretty simple. It's just let me zoom in here. So basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to like change things up, maybe run an eco round, or things just aren't working with our default setup. What we'll do is we'll have Breach ready with the stun, waiting for contact. Omen's going to smoke window, and then Sova's going to walk down and try to get a kill in grass. And if Sova makes contact, what happens?
He just backs up. Like Breach stuns and then he backs up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Sova
ever
tries to
getting
get a kill, Breach stuns, so he can't be traded, and then Sova runs back. And now you're in a 5 versus 4, and you have a much better chance of winning the round at that point, right? What also what does the other team, how does the other team react when you go aggressive towards mid like this? Like, what do you think they're gonna do if you go aggro?
They're gonna try to like work around it.
Yeah, they're gonna work around it. They're gonna maybe go C. They're gonna maybe go A. And what we've done here is like we have Jet with an op, right? Posted up with an op, and then we have Cypher with kill trips, just trying to get an easy kill, right? And it's usually like this is a free kill. So it's pretty cool because we can get a free kill with the Sova and not get traded. And then after that happens, they're like, oh my god, they're rushing mid. And then they try to rotate, and then we probably get another free kill with either our Jet or a Cypher, and then it's like a 5 versus 3, and it's pretty much round over at that point if you can trade out. So yeah, let's kind of see how that is played. So Crew decide to put Jet here with them. So that's kind of interesting, but just kind of watch on the radar here how this aggro's played.
only hope has so far been Shy. He's performed great individually, and he's gonna have to step.
So look, Breach just has his stun out, right? He's not like with his knife out just chilling there. He's ready to go. He's looking at the radar, and right when he sees something pop up, he's gonna stun it. And see these guys are walking down, and then Sova's posted up on window, but you could also just smoke it too.
Step up huge here on this defensive side, anchoring wherever he's at. But the problem is, you can't always guess right, and
No.
Crew are already guessing wrong. There are 4 members here for a flood, though. It's only DGZ now.
Well,
Great entry.
Okay, so what did we notice so far from this push and this adaptation from the push? I'm thinking about the defense mostly. I'll spoil it. So just look here. They walk down, and then they get spotted, right? They get spotted, but they don't get a kill. So they immediately pivot and go C, right? Because maybe Breach hears them, or like they know like Cypher isn't seeing anything, so it's probably C, and they immediately rotate and flood the site. So let's watch it again.
Crew are already guessing wrong.
Yeah, they're running.
There are 4 members here for a flood, though. It's only DGZ now.
well,
Great entry.
that's a start.
Sheriff upgraded. Zeno taking the space.
Yeah, and they've totally shut down the C push because they were able to rotate really quickly.
Ooh,
Just barely. Barely avoiding that.
the rotation so far from Crew, this pack mentality, it's been doing a really good job in this pistol round.
I don't think they're. Never mind. I thought they weren't going to be expecting Peccata, but this has been a great pistol for Crew.
Yeah. The way that they maneuvered around the map, trusting Shy to just stay at A site the entire time. There's one, though. There is a chance.
Okay, so what else do we know so far? I saw another thing of note.
Peeking together.
Peeking
Like
together.
those.
Like when you're in a 5v3, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly, yeah. They didn't split up and just try to pad their stats, right? They went and rotated back to B because they left B, and they took like a 2v1 and they got the kill. Good point. Okay, what do you notice the attackers did just now?
They saw everybody going B, so they just came back C and walked up.
Yeah, they rotated, and then even further than that. Okay, so like what the attackers did, if they just plant right here, these 4 or 5, I guess, 5 players are just gonna collapse onto them, and they'll just lose the round, right? So before they even plant, they know I need to get at least 1 kill to make this possible. So that's why, like, this Sova here just kind of just pushes and just goes for a kill, and then he gets killed, backs up, and now Breach is also going for another kill. He needs to even up the numbers, and it doesn't really work here, but like you can just, in the mind of a pro, what they're thinking is, you know, okay, if there's you know, there's 2 of us and there's 5 of them, I need to make this a 4 or else I lose, right? So just, you can kind of think of that like man advantage is one of the most important things in Valorant. So it can kind of dictate like how aggressive or how passive you should be playing, right? All right. Any other questions so far?